Right now, let's bring in Asa Hutchinson, Republican governor of the state of Arkansas. Governor, thank you for joining me this morning. I know you are taking the CDC's advice. Do you believe the health risk warrants a pause like this when it comes to the J&J vaccine?
To me, there's only one real reason for the pause, and that is enough time to get the treatment information out to all the physicians so that they know how to treat it in the event a blood clot arises from this. That should take a matter of 24 hours. It's quickly we can disseminate the information on the treatment, and as Dr. Schaffner pointed out, the risks are so minimal, we need to lift this pause as quickly as possible, and I'm talking about in a matter of hours and days, in order to get this important vaccine out to those populations that otherwise wouldn't have access to it. And so it is a concern to me in terms of we have resistance in the rural America already. And I don't want this to give greater cause or pause to getting the vaccine.
Let's talk about that resistance, because Arkansas was already 46th out of 50 states in terms of getting shots in arms. How does this news impact your efforts?
Well, we have to do better, and the challenge is that we have a supply of vaccines now. It is in our pharmacies. The access to the vaccine is there. And so it's really a demand issue that we have right now, and it's up to every citizen of Arkansas or America to get their shot. And the resistance, I think, comes from what they read on the internet, the natural resistance to some vaccines. You look at the flu shot in rural America, the participation in flu shots is not as high as it is in urban America, perhaps. And so there's a natural resistance that we have to overcome. But we're in a race against the clock. Whenever you look at other states that are increasing in cases, Arkansas is not. We're low hospitalizations. And the fact that we are winning the battle, what is the perception? They say it's over with. Maybe it deletes the sense of urgency to get the vaccine. We've got to overcome that. And I say we could be like Michigan 30 days from now. If we don't get this vaccine, it's a rush to get it. And that's what we're pushing.
So what are you doing about it? Because 30 days from now, you could be like Michigan, but it was 30 days ago. A month ago, you said you were worried that people in Arkansas were being too hesitant to take the vaccine. This Johnson & Johnson news could only make them more hesitant. What are you going to do?
Well, we're going to have to overcome the resistance. We're using influencers in minority communities. We're actually having efforts to knock on doors as needed in communities to actually encourage people to get the vaccine. So there's a number of parts of the marketing and the community efforts to overcome that resistance. But it's also about the information flow that comes out of Washington or the CDC. And so that's one of the reasons they need to clear this up very, very quickly, which appears to be doable, and where I think it should give confidence. And this is the message we need to have, is that this illustrates the confidence that you should have in the vaccines, because we're able to detect even 1 out of 1 million risk factor. And so that should weigh in our favor, and they were transparent about it. They were transparent. I applaud them for it. But let's get back and let's lift this pause as soon as the doctors know exactly how to treat this.
Before you go, I want to shift gears for a moment and ask you about the state legislation that prohibits gender reassignment surgery. You vetoed it, but it got overridden. So I want to ask you about impact. There are families of transgender children already going through treatment. Now that it is off the table, what is it like for them?
Well, it's a great concern, and let me emphasize that I would have signed a bill that simply prohibited sex reassignment surgery for those minors. But this went much further than that into restricting hormonal treatment with the parent and the doctor's consent or agreement that that is the right plan. This bill was overbroad, it was extreme, and that's the reason I vetoed it. And even most importantly, it didn't have a grandfather clause. So there's some young people that are actually undergoing treatment under the supervision of their doctor and with the permission of the parent. and we're interfering in that, and they're going to be winding up going out of state if they could afford it, or they're going to try to get it elsewhere because it puts them in great jeopardy. I hope the legislature will look at remedying that, but it's a great concern to me.
Have any of those families reached out to you? I mean, they're mid-treatment.
Hundreds of them have, not just here in Arkansas, but across the country, because they're worried about this plan taking place in other states. But yes, they're concerned about it. The physician community is concerned about it. And I regret that that happened. I hope, again, that there's some movement for putting into place a grandfather clause. I hope that that can happen for the sake of these young people. Passing laws is about policy. It's also about compassion. And I think it's a conservative, compassionate view that we let these decisions be made by those people that know and love the children the best.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.